anomaly detected.
Test 1, 2. Sega.
Welcome back, welcome back. I'm taking you all the way back to the 90s. Yep, 1995. I actually can't associate anything with 1995 other than the fact that I was probably like 1 year old or something. But considering all the number of games that you really would think of as iconic games from the era, Comix Zone is always one of those games where you're like, oh yeah, that game, but you'll never truly say it by name because you always forget the name. Look, you'll get to a point where it's like, what is that name again? That game, that comic book, aesthetic and. But nowadays you have to refer to it as that 32-bit comic book game. What was it? What is it called again? Half the name is sort of in it, but the rest of it kind of sounds slightly generic, but I'm not complaining about it too much. I have a lot to nitpick about. I thought one of the best things about actually going back, having throwbacks to old games, is that sometimes the ones you remember the least are the ones that really stand out the most, purely because of how unique the premise is. Don't get me wrong, I remember all your big beat-em-ups, but something as weirdly quiet as Comix Zone really stood out for me quite a lot more than most other games that you think they would. And it actually has to sit purely because of the story. In no way, shape or form am I saying that the story was so mind-bogglingly awesome that it could surpass any modern stories of today. No, the premise of the game is so simple but yet so great that it's actually memorable to this point. You're a cartoon, you're a comics writer that gets sucked into your game. Now you have to fight to survive. That's pretty easy to get me engrossed so that I can actually run through the game and have no excuse, absolutely flooring everybody in my way. The art, the graphics, it's just, well, I can't use the word graphics in today's terms by saying, oh man, the graphics, because everybody's gonna think 60 frames per second, 1080p graphics, and that's how you want to go about it. No, it's not the same. It's just the way the game looks compared to other games of the era is really incredible. Just because the game really looks of its own style. I mean, hell, just look at it. It's beautiful. And you wouldn't even say this game came out in the 19. Gosh, please, this game did not come out in the 1970s. My brain just absolutely got fried right there. For a game that came out in 1995, you look at the games around it, and honestly, you could even look at games in a better era, and you'll still say this game really holds up for its beautiful graphics, its beautiful appearance. And that's as far as I can say, purely because I did find one thing very irritating, only because I've gone back to the game, and the game is really hard to play. The one true thing I really need to nitpick on is the game really does feel slightly stiff. Don't get me wrong, it's not like it's really difficult. It's not like your feet are walking around in corn syrup, but geez, the game does feel a slightly bit rugged in movement wise. I won't lie, it is a little bit tough. But apart from that, the game is incredibly enjoyable. I did like it. The other thing though, And I found this like extremely stupid as a thing to really be annoyed about. But I hate the fact that you take damage from the environment. Like, you try to break down a crate, you try to break down a door, and you're the one taking damage? I'm like, what? Me? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm supposed to be the hero, but I mean, I'm getting hurt by like a door. It's a comic book. I mean, the logic really never got to me when you're trying to break it down. Like, I get there's always a narrativized reason for something to happen in a game, but you as the character taking damage for attacking objects, like breakable objects. It's like, imagine every single time in Streets of Rage you had to break down a steel barrel just to get health, but you took damage for breaking down that barrel. It seems weird, right? It's not just me, but that is one of those stupid things that I genuinely think is something I'm not always on par with because of the game. But apart from that, it's fine. It's one of those nitpicks because every game has something that's a quirk about the game. But relatively, I'm not gonna go overly crazy about it. The other thing though, those are my nitpicks. Nitpicks over, done, no more nitpicking. Things I like though, it's a very weird thing, but I never thought about item management back in the 90s as video games kept going on. But item management is actually a thing in this game. Well, sort of. You have like 3 base items and you sort of go through the game and add more items or use items or don't use items as you keep going. You are gonna get sort of more items as you keep going, so that's great and everything. But early item management, if you really think about it now, was never a thing that every single game used. Apart from that though, item management was something I found very interesting, very early into the game, so I thought that's actually pretty cool. I dig that, it's pretty decent. The other thing I thought was actually pretty cool, because I really got to see this in like the games I played like in the early 90s, which was something as simple as the enemies blocking. Now you're gonna say, oh yeah, but this exists. Did it really though? Most of the times you got bum rushed by characters or bum rushed by your opposition, but you never really had oppositions that really defended unless they were bosses. Go back, look at your old school beat 'em ups. You never really had standard characters always blocking. It was a very rare thing, which I found was very interesting in this one. And I really did like it. Apart from that, I still have to finish the game because I've never finished the game in my entire life. But the small parts of it I really love, and I really would go back to this game. The game is nice, and don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the game like immensely. But I don't feel like this the kind of game where you sit down and replay it 100,000 times. It is a really good beat 'em up for the very few instances that you want to go through the game, but you only want to go through it once, every now and then. Is it bad? No. No, in no capacity is this game bad. It does make it difficult to go through, yeah, that is true. But I did like it. I really did dig the game. At some point I'm going to want to do like a speed run or a completionist run of the game from start to finish. Just absolutely go through the game from start to go through the game like completely from start to finish. And I would, like, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, as a kid you haven't played the game completely, and you know that you probably got more irritated because you were that kind of kid who really wanted to play the game without any cheat codes, and I would still like to do that. So it's basically one of those future to play games, and I will put it up. I'll have everybody, you know, just like put it up on my channel, and then you're gonna watch, and then you just let me know, you know, if you want to. If you don't, it's cool, but if you want to, how about hit a like, let me know what you think, even add a comment, why not? If you want completionist runs, let me know. So yeah, that's my 8-minute 2 cents on um that's my 8-minute 2 cents on Comix Zone. What else are you playing? What else are you interested in? What other 90s or old school throwbacks are you interested in? What other games would you want me to go? What other 90s throwbacks do you want me to play, or are interested in actually having me check out? Let me know.